Before we hop into this episode, I have one favor to ask of you. If you've got any kind of information or inspiration from this podcast, it would mean the world to me if you hit the subscribe button. Just like most podcasts out there are more people that watch this show that are not subscribed than that are subscribed. And so if you want to help me get bigger and better guests for this show as we go along, and I hope you do stick along, it would mean the world to me to hit that subscribe button so that we can make it happen. Thank you. Let's get into the interview. Our idea of money, and a lot of people in the world, their beliefs around money are very misunderstood and paved by early childhood moments. For you guys, what were some of those early childhood moments that kind of shaped your relationship, your idea, your beliefs, your the trajectory you took on your relationship with money?
For me, I have an immigrant mindset, but I did not immigrate here. My dad immigrated here when he was 13. My mom's also Mexican, was born here, and the images I remember as a child and what I learned about money was that my family left the bad place, Mexico. That was a place that was pain, struggle, and suffering. The good place was this country. Now, that I feel like is a hot take when I say America is good, America is great, America is a place where a land of opportunity, because that's not what I see on politics and media. So that to me created this rosy lens and a mindset that I can create, and I'm in the right place to change my circumstances through hard work. It was one of those great mindsets I got.
Yeah, I'd say for me it was no disrespect to my parents, but it was actually seeing how they approached money and my entire childhood going, I am not going to be poor like these people. Like, I mean, I think I literally set out to try to do the exact opposite of almost everything my parents and family were doing, including getting divorced, and, messing up my sister and my life and trauma and drama. I mean, that's where I first became a psychologist. I don't think I've ever really told this story, but was trying to interview my parents about why did you get divorced? Because I knew even as like a little kid, I'm like, I'm going to do everything in my power to not give, if I have children someday, not give them this type of an experience. But I digress. When it came to money, I was essentially trying to interview my friends' parents who who had 2 bathrooms in their house. Like that, to me, that was the definition of rich. And so what can I learn from them about how they got 2 bathrooms? What jobs did they get? What is their mindsets around money? And so because my mom was a really good saver. So that's the one thing I will say. She was so afraid of being poor that she basically set it up so that we were always poor because she was so worried about not having enough. So I did inherit this like scarcity. Oh no, there's not enough money. I need to save money. And so part of that was good. It has a dark side when it's really intense. But that's the part I did receive that was good. But the rest of it was like, I'm going to learn to invest. You guys don't invest. I'm going to learn how to do all this. I'm going to become an entrepreneur. You guys aren't. So for me, it was trying to do the opposite of what my parents were doing.
Yeah, I laugh because I resonate so deeply, especially on the mom part. And it's insane to think that I think for a lot of people, whether you have a lot of money or you have a little money, there's anxiety around money. It feels like for so many people, whether you have little and you're afraid of never making it, or you have a lot and you're afraid of losing all of it. How much of a role does our childhood moments not talking about money? I know that in the book, you guys talk a lot about how one of the biggest mistakes that you can make is just not talking about it, saying that we can't afford that. Like all of these phrases that become normalized, but really shouldn't be.
Yeah, so a lot of the research I've done in this area has been around what we call money scripts. And we all got them, and they're called money scripts because they're like a script that was written in a play and you're playing it out. And chances are you don't even know who wrote it. Part of my journey was trying to figure out why I was so screwed up around money. I interviewed my mother. And by the way, I strongly encourage everyone to do this. So if you have parents who are alive, or even grandparents, which is incredible, interview them. When I realized that I was so messed up around money, I immediately blamed my parents. That's what we do in psychology. You got to blame your parents. And I went and I'm like, okay, literally sat down with a recorder in front of my mom. And I'm like, all right, mom, what was it like for you growing up around money? And she started to tell me these stories. And then I was like, what was it like for grandma and grandpa? She told me these stories and it just blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, no wonder I'm the way I am around money. So we have these money scripts for most of us, they're unconscious. We're not even aware of them. And like one of our chapters is your beliefs about money are keeping you poor. And the message in that is a huge intervention. You think it's the government keeping you poor. You think it's unfair businesses. You think it's Elon Musk. I mean, I don't know who you think is keeping you poor, but we're here to tell you it's your beliefs. And if you can just, even if 10% of you is like, first of all, you want to reject that. No, that's not true. Even if we could just squeak in 10%, is it 10% of it possible? We just want you to be curious about that and explore it. What are your beliefs? Because in all the studies that I've done, your beliefs predict your income, your net worth, your credit card behavior. It predicts all of it. So if you're not happy with your income and your net worth, look at your beliefs and change them.
I love that. It brings up I think the chapter you're speaking about is your boss isn't the one in control of your income. Your boss is at a low paying job is just a reflection of your mindset. And before this podcast, I said there was a lot of chapters in the book that are going to be really hard for people to read because it's going to address a lot of those beliefs that they haven't overcome. And belief drives behavior in the world. So if you believe that you're never going to be able to find a job that allows you to create income, you're not going to find those opportunities nor seek out those opportunities. And one of the things that I think is a great way to segue into is that poor people buy stuff and rich people own time. You guys speak about that in the book. I love that perspective. Why is that the kind of approach that you think is beneficial for most people?
Yeah, I think most people that know me, I feel like I gained over 1 million followers. It felt like overnight when I was living in a van documenting van life. And before van life became cool, I was kind of doing it right at that moment. And then all of a sudden, van life was this trendy thing during the pandemic. But I would share. Before that, I've been sharing my journey since 2010 when I posted my first YouTube video. Side quest, I used to be a pro hip hop dancer for T-Pain. And so my first content was just teaching people how to dance a robot. And then fast forward that journey to the pandemic, I had gotten really obsessed with this game of making money online. And I documented since my first ever AdSense payment of 42 cents. But then all the way up to in van life, I was making like $100,000 in a month. And I would share that. But then I would also share I live in the van. And so people would see these two things which seem completely opposite, and they would say, there's no way this guy's legit. Fraud, scammer, imposter. What kind of millionaire chooses to live in a van? And I learned a lot through the comments and the controversy and how viral my videos were going, that when people think of rich or wealth, they think objects. And as a extreme minimalist back then, I think we don't own any object, that objects own us. And so naturally, of course, people want to fantasize. You may have a wallpaper background on your phone that's a Lamborghini. All right. I think a Lamborghini is a really cool car. And if you want to get a Lamborghini, this is the difference between having a poor mindset approach and a rich mindset. Poor mindset is to think of, okay, I make, let's say, X amount of dollars an hour. How many hours do I need to work to eventually buy that Lamborghini? That's not what wealthy people think. Wealthy people, if they want to get the Lamborghini, they say, what kind of investment can I invest in? And that investment's going to pay me an income, and then I can buy the Lamborghini. And that's the huge difference. Wealthy people are not trading their time. They're making an investment and they're buying through their passive income. Whereas a poor mindset, you're trading your time. So this is why another chapter we talk a lot of crap on people that have designer brands, because most people that have designer brands are not financially free. And so when you see someone rocking a Rolex or Louis Vuitton, your first thought shouldn't be, wow, that person's rich. Your first thought is like, wow, I wonder how much time that person traded to get that. Because that, like, when I see a shirt or a purse, I don't think in terms of, well, that's expensive, that's $5,000. I think, oh, that person spent 100 hours of their life to get that. Whereas a true wealthy person, that, it's okay to have nice things, but they're doing it in a smart way. But here's the tough part. Rich is what you see, Like, but wealth is what you don't see. It's hidden, it's secret. And so this is why we have imposters, this is why we have fake gurus, is because the person rocking the Louis Vuitton, we actually don't know if that person bought it through because they have, for like their dividends from their investments are paying for it, or it's someone that's maxing out their credit cards. The only thing I would say is, like, because we don't know, I wouldn't give them the benefit of the doubt. And that's just based on the average stats of Americans who don't have a lack of retirement savings, who have so much credit card debt, college debt. Like, everyone's in debt in America. So when you see someone rocking something nice, it's a very slim chance that person has actually bought it the wealthy way, and they're just they traded their time for it.
Yeah, it is an overcompensation. The older I get, the less I want anything covered on me. I want, like, as blank as I can be, because I've realized that. Something in the book that I was really surprised by. I love to know the psychology behind this. That studies show that people that have money are known to tell you that they have less, and the inverse is this true for those that don't. I found that fascinating, which I find myself when I'm surrounding myself with people that are maybe in a less financially secure situation than I am. I'm always the one that just, like, I try not to even jump into that conversation. So I'm curious why that is.
Yeah, so this actually comes out of research we've done on beliefs around money, and we found a couple patterns of beliefs around money. And by the way, these aren't opinions, but I'm totally willing to change my opinion immediately if the research shows something different. So, and you got to remember, I grew up poor. I was only interested in the truth because I wanted to become wealthy. So I literally studied. Then I became an adult, a psychologist, a researcher, a professor. I literally tried to study, what are these mindset differences, right? So most millionaires are self-made, right? First of all, that's fabulous news, right? So fabulous news. You don't have to be born rich. Most people are self-made, but they think very differently. What are these beliefs that where people come from the exact same neighborhood, the exact same situation, broken home, low income, yet one person climbs the socioeconomic ladder, the other person doesn't. Aren't you curious to know what their beliefs are? I was. And so what we found is that the people who we call it money status beliefs. Okay, now these are people who are more likely to come from a poor home, like me, by the way, and I fell into these. And they are much more likely to tell you they make more than they do. They're much more likely to flash an expensive watch, labels, because they want to show you that they're worth something. Like there's some low self-esteem that comes with being poor because you realize other people have more than you. And so when I first got, I had $100,000 in debt coming out of school, got my first paycheck, I'm making six figures. I went out and bought a fancy watch. I went out and bought gold jewelry for my mom. I thought this is what people did. And then I quickly found, as I did the research, actually it's the opposite. And so most self-made millionaires are money vigilant. And in our studies, they're actually more likely to downplay how much money they have. So get that. So Adrian's right on point. When you see somebody flashing, luxury brands on social media, statistically speaking, it's a dead giveaway that they're broke. Okay. And if they're not broke, you might say, no, that kid's got a lot of money or they won the lottery. They're about to be broke. A lot of these examples that people show about these celebrities and their lavish spending, there are countless examples of how they all go broke. Countless examples. And so when I see that on social media, I'm either like, this person is broke and insecure. Well, clearly they're insecure. Like, why else are they trying to flash this? I mean, that's a given. 99% chance they're broke, or they're on the pathway to blowing through all their money and being broke. So when I see that on social media, I do not feel low self-esteem, and neither should you. You should immediately shake your head. By the way, I've already trained my 11-year-old to shake your head and go, oh, what a pathetic idiot, and look, I'm not trying to be judgmental. I actually feel sorry for them, and I want to help them because they clearly have a poor mindset. That should be the mindset when you see that on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that, another thing, I really was fascinated by this book, must I say. I'll say that throughout this podcast. We're going to go down a bunch of different rabbit holes of, like, things that I came across from this book, and I was fascinated. This is one of them. Dead people outperform living people, and women outperform men. And I think this is like going completely against the belief that most people think that, oh, I need to be so active. Like, even when you're getting into investments, when I thought about it, I thought, I don't ever want to have to look at this, and I want to put it away and make it automatic every single week. For most people, they think they have to overcompensate so much. We have to overcomplicate it. but research shows otherwise, correct?
Right. And so, like, a poor mindset when it comes to investing is this, because I had it. I had this poor mindset. I'm going to take this $10,000 and I'm going to turn it into $100,000. Okay. That's a poor mindset towards investing. Now, if you said you're going to do that over 15 years, I'm like, well, of course, it's almost a guarantee as long as you don't screw it up, as long as you don't do anything stupid. But people want to do it in a year, a 2 year, 2 years. They think this is how people get rich. That's not what they do at all. Rich people make money. So you have to have, and Adrian will talk about this. You got to have a rich mindset. You got to be able to make money, but the wealth mindset is what you do with that money once you make it. And so the statistics you're talking about, when they look at portfolios, the average person wants to trade. They think trading is the way to do it. This is what I thought when I had a bunch of debt trying to get out of it. I'm going to trade my way to wealth. And then 97% of day traders lose money. Okay, wrap your head around that. 97. And you're saying, aha, yes, but 3% make money. Well, get this. Of those 3 people out of 100, 2 of them are making less than minimum wage. And there's only 1 who's getting lucky. They're not smart. They don't know what they're doing. It's just statistically speaking, somebody's going to make money. The more you trade, the lower your returns. And I know you're thinking that's not you. It is you. Trust me. I know more than you do about this. You're going to lose all your money. And so that's why dead people outperform living people, because they're not making any trades in their portfolio because they can't, because they're dead. And then women outperform men by a significant percentage, by the way, because they have less confidence. They're not quite sure where the market is going. They're not quite sure what's going to happen in the future. Hello, that means they're smarter than you, okay? Because they realize they can't predict the future. And so if anything, I hope that I'm rattling your confidence and making you think twice about how brilliant you are, especially young males. They're the worst when it comes to this. It's why insurance companies won't even let them, loan cars out, whatever. They're not going to let you rent a car because they know you're going to crash it. You're going to crash your portfolio too with that overconfidence. So
it's not just young people. I'm going to share a real specific example. I live in Austin, Texas, Barton Springs, and I happen to have a nice cyber truck. And right now it's a really hot car. Everywhere I go, people will come and take photos. And then this one older gentleman, he's probably in his late 60s. He goes to Barton Springs all the day, I learned. And he said, he's like, can I take a photo of the car? And he said, yes. And then he was like, what do you do? And right now I do a lot of things, but right now when people ask me, because we're promoting Start Thinking Rich, all I'm saying is like, I'm a financial author of my books, Start Thinking Rich. And he's like, oh, really? So you want, is it okay if we talk investing? And I can't tell you, I would say probably 9 out of 10 conversations I have when people see me or they recognize me, they want to talk investing. It's not actually investing. Because this is the conversation that happens. And this is the thing that I want to make aware is because if you think this is investing, it's not. So he proceeds an elaborate 20-minute long scheme where his investing idea is, and through all this research he's been doing, is that Solana, the cryptocurrency, is going to be the next biggest thing. And so this is not a young guy. I feel like we pick on young males a lot. And of course, it's a part of rite of passage of every adult male to like think that you're a hot shot at investing, but it's not investing. This is called speculation. This is called speculation. Is a word for gambling. Like, in fact, in most people, if you look at the portfolio, you'd probably be better off going to a casino and putting your money there. And so this guy at the end of it, and you know what's funny? Before this conversation started, I actually, because I get hit with this so much, even if meeting people, my patience level is so low now, is that when he said, hey, you want to talk about investing? I said, the first thing I said, I was like, we can, but I just want you to know I'm a boring investor. And I said, this is all I do. I basically invest. I at $30,000 a month, I have it on automatic. It goes into an index funds and ETFs, and I check it once a month. And it's just on auto. And I don't talk about, because usually I don't want to invite conversation about like real estate and other stuff. That's all I say. And I said that as like, so I don't like do any like trading or anything like that. And he's like, oh, that's okay. Me neither. Okay, let me tell you about this. Let me tell you about Solana. It's
Wait, what?
like it's crazy to me. And so many people, this is the sad thing. This is why we made this book, to help people, to bring awareness to this. Is like, so many people actually think they're investing when they're gambling.
So you've heard the quote, you were the average of the 5 people you surround yourself most with, right? Well, that's more true than you could possibly imagine. And what if those 5 people were a human lie detector, an FBI negotiator, an ex-CIA spy, a billionaire, and everything in between? Well, that's exactly what I've been able to do with my podcast over these past few years. From starting in my car with no money, no experience, no following, not even a microphone, and now I'm collaborating with some of the most profound individuals in the world. And it's because of 2 simple things: crafting the perfect pitch so that when the person sees the message, they are open to actually entertaining the opportunity of speaking with you. And number 2, finding a way to get that pitch seen to begin with so that you actually can get in that room. And if you want to learn the skills and how I've been able to get the guests that I've been able to get in my show without any kind of audience or experience, the link in the description will be there for Get Your Guest, my course, and how I've been able to collaborate and connect with some profound individuals and show you how you can too. Yeah, that is. It's a tough thing, because I'm similar to you, where it's like it's proven. We've seen it time and time again. When you don't think about it, ETFs, like the most boring way, seems to be the most beneficial way over the long run, but people are just trying to make it happen so quick. The book, it seems, it's more than anything. Of course, later in the book, there's so many actionable things that we can do to create a more rich, wealthy life. But a lot of it is just like you guys will state, it's so much about beliefs, and these beliefs around money. It's just, there's so many that we were told that just is not true. What are some of the limiting beliefs that you guys have found that just continue to come up no matter how much money someone has?
Yeah, so one of them that we find in this is all research-based stuff, that there's a couple that are really, really bad for you. This one is called money avoidance. And this is where you believe that money's bad, that there's rich people are evil, that the only way to get rich is to take advantage of others, that, in order for me to win, someone has to lose. I mean, if you have that mindset, like, chances are you're a really good person. There's probably only 1% of your audience, James, that are psychopaths, and you know who you are. The rest of you you're good people. And if you have this idea that the only way for me to get wealthy is by hurting other people, of course you're not going to become wealthy. You're not a bad person. And so that's just, and if you have that belief, by the way, I had this belief growing up. I grew up in a low income environment. I didn't know any rich people. One of the ways that I think we helped feel better about our position is that, well, at least we're not one of those people. It's like, I might not have money, but that person has low morals, or they took advantage of others. It's a real sticky trap, because it's going to make you feel better about yourself. And this is one of the things we need to challenge, right? Because the more money you have, the more good you can do in the world. And imagine if you decided to let all the evil people have all the money. You think if that's your mindset, it's like, of course not. We want you to have the money. We believe that that you should have it. We believe that the universe wants this for you. We want it for you because we know you're going to do great things in the world. And so try to find examples of people doing great things in the world. People who had money eradicated polio from the entire world. They create libraries, they create scholarship funds to help lower income people get a leg up. Become one of those rich people, because if you have this mindset, rich people are evil, you will see somebody like Warren Buffett or Bill Gates or whoever, like, donating millions or billions of dollars to charity. You'll be like, yeah, right. Well, they're only doing it for the tax write-off or something. You'll make up some sort of story to just put it back in the bucket of rich people are evil. Real briefly, another one that we see is that more stuff is going to make me happier, and it's going to increase my status and all this. And hopefully we've sort of challenged that a little bit. But the bottom line is, more stuff is not going to make you happy. Think of the last time you got a present, as a kid, super excited about it, oh my God, it changed your life, and then a week later, 2 weeks later, you forgot about it. You go back to normal. What we argue is that the most valuable asset you can have is time. And that's what financial freedom can get for you. And so we want you to be putting your money into what we think is even better than stuff. And that is owning your time.
Yeah, hedonic adaptation is a thing. I mean, whatever you're trying to achieve or get to, I mean, it's going to become normalized to you. The perspective I like to take is that you've already achieved things that you said would make you happy. So what makes you think that the next thing is going to make you happy, or whatever the accomplishment is? One, I think this is going to be the most difficult chapter for people to get through. Not that it was hard to read, but it's hard to accept. Is that it's not about your value as a person, but it's your economic worth. Most people don't deserve more money.
Yeah, this is tough. We say you don't deserve to get paid more money. You're paid what you're worth right now, because that's almost like an insult, right? Because everyone deserves they should get paid more, right? And then they start to go into the path like the reason why I'm not paid more, and they look externally. I'm going to sound really smart right now, but it's not me. It's all just be by partnering with Dr. Brad Klontz. He talks a lot in psychology about internal locus of control, and this is a fancy way of basically saying like when your view of your life right now, how much do you feel like is in your control when things happen? Do they happen to you, or do they happen because of you? Are you in control of your outcomes, or do you feel like you're helpless? Is the world happening all around you and you can't keep up? This single mindset belief, if anything, if you're listening, if you can walk away with this is life changing. It goes beyond money. It goes to relationships. It goes to every aspect of our lives, because having an internal locus of control is an empowering belief that no matter what your circumstance is, you have the ability to change it. You have the ability to change. And that's not just money. It's like if you're in school still listening to this, it's like your ability to excel. It comes in terms of your health. Do you feel like, oh, like I can never get in shape? Like if you have internal locus of control, it's like, no, I can. I got to eat healthy. I got to work out every day and eventually keep doing that. I know I can get healthy. I can get ripped, or whatever your goals are. So this single important thing is it. And when it comes to like your job right now, how much you're paid, you're getting paid whatever it is right now, low or high, for a reason. It's typically based off your value. And so it's kind of a blunt shot to awareness of thinking like, if I want to increase my income, I can't be blaming my boss. I have to actually increase the value, or learn, or take a side hustle, or start or increase my education, learn other tactics, or take another work. And some people may complain to say, well, what kind of world do we live in today where I have to take a second job, or I have to learn? But this is like other ways of basically like every sacrifice. Like, so you're basically just saying you're not willing to do what it takes and sacrifice. Cause like every successful person I know, like I read about 2 books a week, every author, like a successful business person, they made immense sacrifice to get to where they are. So it's kind of a wake up call, but it's not just an insult. It's the book is the chapters I think are punches in the face, and then the duration of the chapter is kind of a loving hug. So we kind of like wake you up, shake you, and then we break it down on why it's actually a good thing to think that way.
As well, at the end of each chapter, you also give people actionable steps to, with the value. It's like, okay, here's the next step, which I think is really powerful as well, because you're not just slapping people in the face, you're giving them a pat on the back to move forward as well, right? Like you're giving them the advice on where to move forward with. And I think it is a difficult thing. I mean, perspective I like to take is it may be someone else's fault, right? The system is working against us in so many ways, but it's still my responsibility. So giving that authority and control to someone else doesn't help me in any way. And I think a lot of people have a lot of shame around money that makes them believe that this job is the job that I'm supposed to be at. This is what I am worth. I'm worth $20 an hour, which is mind boggling to me. You go to work, you go on your lunch, you pay for your lunch. There's an hour of the work that you just put in. And a lot of people are stuck in that position. So how do you guys help people overcome that shame around money so they can build a better relationship and realize that they deserve to make more?
Yeah. Well, and part of that chapter is like, if you're getting $20 an hour, we truly believe that you deserve $20 an hour. And if you can endorse that belief, it's so empowering. Oh my God, it's so empowering. And as a psychologist, I realize I hit my limit. I'm getting paid by the hour, and it's like, well, I can complain that I wish I was getting more an hour, but literally I'm in a job where this is the worth that society has determined. It's an economic worth. And so regardless of my little feelings about how much I should be getting paid, the economic value has been determined. And so then it's like, okay, well, I want to get paid more, so I'm going to become worth more. So that's the key really here. It's not about shaming you about your worth. It's like, you hit the limit, become worth more, learn another skill set. Like for me, I brought in a skill set around money. I'm going to learn, I'm going to become a financial planner, CFP. I'm going to learn all that. I'm going to combine those two things. Look for how you can up your game by increasing your value. So it's a loving pat on the back call to action. But when it comes to shame, one of the reasons I'm so willing to talk about how messed up I was around money is because I don't want you to feel shame. Like, we talked about your money scripts. So the reason I was so messed up around money is because I came from a family system that taught me that, and it's my responsibility, to shift that. But I was born into this environment. I was born into a low income environment. I have privilege in other areas, but it certainly wasn't financial, and it certainly wasn't money mindset. And all that's very real. So if you have made a mess of your financial life, these are the reasons why you shouldn't feel ashamed. Number one, it's your parents' fault or your grandparents. Maybe it's the culture, what they've taught you. Maybe it's the people around you. You're stuck in this mindset. But maybe you're also the average American. Welcome to the club. The average American is a hot financial mess, and there's lots of reasons why. It's because our schools aren't teaching us what we need to know. It used to be that you didn't need to know this stuff, by the way. Like my grandpa's generation, he got a pension from GM, and he had Social Security, and it was going to be around. Like James, Social Security may not be around for me. I'm older than you. It's probably not going to be around for you at all. Like, I don't think you should even be thinking about this. Like, the government is not going to take care of you.
No.
Like, it's not going to happen. But it used to be that was the case. It used to be that your company was going to take good care of you. When you died, they were going to continue to pay your salary. And then when you died, they were going to pay that salary to your spouse. That was the way it worked. Okay. And so I don't blame you if this is brand new news to you, because all the rules changed in the last couple decades and nobody gave you the memo. Nobody told your parents to teach you this. Your teachers aren't teaching you this. So I say all that to say that don't worry about shame. We're all in the same boat. It's about recognizing that you got here because of this thing you inherited, because of whatever. None of that really matters. What matters is, now that you know that, what are you going to shift in your thinking, and what behaviors are you going to shift?
The mindset's so powerful. I want to share a real example. I have an education company. I teach content creators, people that create content and make money. And this is a really key difference in the success rates of people that take it. Stephanie Kim is my top earner. By the way, disclaimer, what I'm about to share, if I share this story about her, you could do the same. It's not happened. She's like a fraction of a percentage. But she's a single mom, 4 kids. And I taught her how to get clients on a platform called Upwork. It's like freelancing, e-lancing. And she's the top earner of this program, and she hit $20,000 in a month. And everyone in the group was like, "That's amazing. That's so good. I can't believe it. I would love that. It's so great." And you know what she said? She said, "It's not enough. It's not enough. I have 4 kids. I'm a single mom, and it's literally not enough, like with everything that we have." And so that was her mindset of like how hungry she was. Like she didn't like, and this is someone she comes from domestic abuse. Like she actually lost her voice from it. So she sounds like she's always has like a really bad sore throat. And she basically worked so hard, and her mindset was so different from everyone else's, because everyone was like dreaming about 20K a month, where she was like, that's not enough. And then she hit 50K and actually a couple months ago. And so that to me is like, what's the difference? Because the material and the education is the same that she got versus everyone else. And it's all her mindset and her way of thinking. So your way of thinking drives everything. And again, I have to say it again, disclaimer, please don't join my class and think you're going to be like Stephanie Kim. Her mindset is insane. And that's one thing that I like. We're trying to teach people on how to start thinking rich. We're trying to change people's mindsets, and it feels woo-foo. It feels like, it's like, oh, mindset. Really? No, like teach me how to get rich. But that is the mindset drives everything. You have to change the way you think. And I promise you, if you do, everything else is going to naturally start. You're going to feel like momentum. Like if you don't feel like you have momentum today, every day, I feel like I wake up with momentum that is carried from when I first started investing over a decade ago. And I feel the same about my relationships, about my income, about my businesses. The effort that I put in, it carries momentum. Where if right now you're waking up, you don't have momentum, the first thing, the momentum starts with a way of thinking.
Yeah, again, belief drives behavior, and so many people just have negative beliefs that do not serve them. And Brad, like you said, I think it's really important to understand that so much of our money beliefs make sense, right? Like the money mistakes that we've had, you've spoke about this in the book. It makes sense why we've done it. I mean, we have so much evidence to reinforce why we should act this way with money. And Adrian, I'd love to touch on that student and the way that there's this idea that $75,000 is enough money. That's where the limit of happiness. You guys kind of broke through that in this new book, but I think so many people still have that belief. I think now, I mean, with interest rates and everything else moving up in the world, it makes sense that it's not that way anymore. But what do you guys think is that limit on happiness?
Okay, this is such a good question, because I feel like we are trying to change this notion that there actually is a limit. And I read the same studies as you did. I literally have a journal entry of that's over 10 years old when I first learned that $75,000 and what it represented 10 years ago is the peak amount of money to happiness ratio. And the things I need to do to improve my income would create a decline in happiness. And I believe today, like $75,000, that's not the right number, but let's bump it up. Let's bump it up to 100,000 or whatever number you need to put in your heads. Like basically this limit. And this limit, what would you feel right now, James? Like what do you think the right number is that most people would say, yeah, if I had $100,000 income, I feel like that is pretty much everything. Would you say it's 100,000 or more?
I think the belief that most people have is that $10,000 a month is a lot of money, and then when they make $10,000 a month, they realize that it's not a lot of money. But that's my assumption is $10K a month at least.
You know what? Let's double it. Let's say it's $20,000 a month. Okay, we believe that there actually isn't a limit. That basically now, if we say if everyone here that's listening made $20,000 a month, the idea that if you wanted to make more than that it would be a decline of your happiness or fulfillment. I feel like the way I learned about this first study is that, well, the people that make to what do you have to do to make more than 75 grand a month in a year, or if we're talking 20K a month, it's I have to sacrifice my quality of life. But I can speak for myself, and Brad will speak to the data, but like I know that the more money I make, I feel I can do a lot more things that I couldn't do before. And I'm not, I don't know, you have to take my word for it, but I love my life. And let me just say, I had an immense tragedy happen to me this year that affected me, and I'm not ready to talk about it, but I still love the life that I built and designed from a financial perspective, the business, the time freedom, my business I have. And I do really cool things I never even dreamed of doing. Like I fly my parents first class. I spent over I love treating them out. I spent over $1,500 on dinner at my favorite restaurant. My parents kind of complain about the price, but even though they're not paying. I love doing these things. I bought my my best friend from third grade a gaming PC because he had back surgery and he's out of a job. And so we can game and play Fortnite every night. And it was like $1,600. Like I love doing these things. And I feel like I can be more generous in terms of like financially. Like I was still generous. Here's the thing, money doesn't change you. I was still doing stuff like that, but it was so tiny. I was still doing whatever donations I could or gifting. I love gifting, but now as I make more money, I can do more. I can do really, really cool stuff. So I think there isn't really a limit. But I think there's a lot of variables here, but lifestyle design is probably the most important aspect. And you don't have to also wait until you hit a limit to also live your life too. There's some things in that, but like living your life, what is the best quality of life? And I think consumption, I don't believe is a way we have to kind of eradicate. We live in a consumer-based world. So some people think to live my life, I need to spend a lot of money. I need to buy things. I need to have a bunch of stuff. I need to have not just one car, multiple cars. I need to have 10 pairs of shoes. Like I need to get the next drip. Like I got to always have these things. And actually those things those things are obsolete. They're really surface level. That's not depth. You have to figure out actually what to do with your life. The deep, hard questions. What is your purpose? What actually brings you fulfillment? And I promise you, it's not any object that you can buy.
No, it's so powerful. It is. Again, this book was really, really fascinating, and I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of value from it. I love to get into some actionable things that people can do, because we're touching a lot of the mindset, a lot of the things that people probably don't want to listen to because they just don't want to make that as a reason. But what are like 3 actionable steps for people that want to get out of that poor mindset, living that kind of lifestyle to kind of create a life of creating more wealth for themselves?
Yeah, Adrian, why don't you tell Adrian? It's one of my favorite chapters, and Adrian broke down. So the chapter title is this: like, people who binge Netflix without a side hustle will be poor forever. And what is, I laughed when Adrian sent me the first draft of this chapter, because he broke down the most popular Netflix series. He calculated how much time you would invest in watching those. And then he attached it to a side hustle. And by the way, he's one of the Adrian's known for a lot of things, but this guy makes a lot of money online, and he's got systems that he can replicate to teach other people to make money online by doing these things. By the way, like, we're good friends. We've been friends for a while. He actually, during the midst of COVID, one of my family members lost their job, and I'm like, oh man. And literally in a 10-minute conversation, I got off the phone and I went and started this side hustle he mentioned. And now it's like making her $50,000 a year, essentially ever since then. So these are very actionable things you can do. But the mindset shift here is like, stop watching Netflix. Okay, that's the mindset. And instead do this. And he just lays it out though too. So it's not just mindset. You got to stop watching Netflix for a while, and then you can turn over to do this. But I'll turn it over to Adrian to talk about some of these things. I'll mention this too. One of the other side hustles that he said to me in passing, because I'm ready to learn and change. I then, my 11-year-old wanted a job. And so rather than do a lemonade stand and sell his Pokemon cards on the corner, which was his idea, I said, well, let's, it's a new world. Let's look at a side hustle. And so Adrian had mentioned this to me years ago. And I was like, all right, let's just do this. So now my 11-year-old scripts videos. He reviews Amazon products. All right. So he finds the product, he writes the script, he comes up with a photo shoot list. He shoots the videos. I do the voiceover, because I guess you're not supposed to have kids doing that. And then he edits the videos, including captions and thumbnails and all this. And I post it. And this month, my 11-year-old, who's a full-time student, all these sports, is going to make $5,000, and which is pretty good. But there's things you can absolutely do right now. My 11-year-old's doing it.
Okay, I feel like we have to. Like James asked for specifics, so I want to share. First of all, you never need to buy a class online. Like everything that it is on YouTube. I make this super clear. I'm not teaching anything proprietary. I don't have some secret sauce. I also purchase classes of people I want to learn from. And my mindset is when I buy a class, I'm buying speed. Because
yes,
on YouTube is this unorganized, overwhelming chaos of a lot of information, and all the information is on YouTube. People are always giving it. I give a lot. Like Brad and I have created over 10,000 videos, like teaching a lot. Like you could learn. You don't have to purchase a class, but what you're buying is speed. So that's the first lens. The second lens is like, there's many different ways. I could spend hours talking about all the different ways you can make money. Brad's specifically talking about the Amazon influencer program. You don't have to be an influencer. Like my family members have accepted it. And you basically take out your phone, you review a product, and you upload it. So that's a very specific side hustle. And if you have a phone, internet, and you can talk about like, hey, I got this coffee mug, and the coffee mug's really great, I really like it. Like that's essentially the work. And then you upload that, you can get paid. That's one of many, many examples that you can do. But if we take a step back, a specific step is realizing that you're actually wasting a lot of time right now. And if you're someone who is not satisfied with your level of income, then instead of spending as much time as we do in entertainment, like go and learn. And I think that's something I did. It's not really a sacrifice to me. I have to give up Netflix. Oh my God, I can't watch Netflix. Big deal. And also, if I know I get comments like this, well, I don't watch Netflix. I'm different. Well, I dare you to get your phone, look at your screen time, and send me a screenshot. And if you do send me a screenshot and it's less than 30 minutes, then I'm gonna say, okay, this looks like you're really maximized. But to my knowledge, that's actually no one on Earth. So no one in the States. So you are wasting time in a deadless scroll and scrolling, and all that time you do have enough time. You're just wasting it on, and it's probably not even consciously. Most people, like, they reach for their phone first thing they wake up, and boom, there's your first 30 minutes of the day, like, that are just wasted. Like that 30 minutes a day is enough to start learning one of these. The other really specific tactical advice I like to give people is investing $1. Because when you actually try to invest $1, there's actually a little bit of work you have to do. You have to go set up a brokerage account or a Roth IRA, depending, or whatever account that you'd like to do. And you have to connect a bank account. Then you got to fill out kind of this like personality quiz that says like, hey, like, I want to retire by this age and my risk tolerance. And there's actually some work you have to do. And some people think like, oh, I don't have enough money to invest. I'm not telling you to invest a lot. I'm telling you to invest $1, because just by getting to the point where you can invest that $1, you have to learn a lot. You have to do a lot. And that's a very specific takeaway for people who aren't investing, is to actually try to invest $1. And then I hope by the time you do all these things, you'll be like, hey, you know what? That wasn't that bad. I'm going to try to invest another $1 and then try to grow that.
It's the hardest part, is just opening the brokerage account. It's the most difficult part of just like, okay, I have to set aside 30 minutes to figure this out and even have any idea of what I'm about to do. But once you do it and you automate it, then you don't think about it. It's like we said earlier, it's like the people that are dead are doing a lot better than people that are living, because they feel they have to overcomplicate it. And it's one of these things where you guys speak about it in the book too. The FIRE movement, something that I came across a few years ago, funny enough, and it sounded appealing to me, but the older I get, the less it really sounds appealing to me, because I like the idea of financial freedom, but I don't like the idea of retirement. And I think you guys are in a similar path with that, where a lot of people think they want retirement, but I don't really think they want retirement. What I think they want is to find purpose in something, and to find passion, to find something that gets them excited to wake up and feel like they have momentum to move towards something. But a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah, that's right. And the whole idea of retirement is for dead people, which is like a kind of a harsh chapter that, I own a investment company. We manage like close to 700 million for people. So, in the book, when we talk about like, you don't have to do crazy crap to make a bunch of money investing, we really mean it, because we work with ultra wealthy people. So we know all the secrets, and guess what? They're not doing. They're not in their basement day trading, right? They're out making money. So it's something that's really important to sort of wrap your head around. Like, what are the tactics people are actually using to become wealthy? And I sort of spaced on your question after that rant.
No, it's good. I actually want to lead into something else, where I think a lot of people, like you said, we weren't taught any of this in school. Like the fact that I learned this after the fact, and Adrian, you spoke a little bit about this too, where you just need to learn. Like I remember working at Dick's Sporting Goods. I'm standing at the door, doing orders and stuff, and I'm listening to audiobooks on 2x speed, because I'm like, I don't want to be here, and I will not be here for long. And that was the path for me trying to move forward. But we didn't learn anything that would actually allow us to step into something. Even just thinking outside of the idea of working hourly wages was mind-boggling to people when I started doing that at 17. And from a high yield savings account to investments to all these different things that we can do, can you guys think of any actionable steps that people can take to make them feel like they have a little bit more control over their money, or at least the direction that their money is going?
Yeah, and I'll mention this because we did a study on this. So take a moment, and we talk about it in the book here too, to identify your top 3 goals. Like, what is it you're wanting? What is it you want out of life? Is it financial freedom? Is it I want to get a car. I want to save up for a house. Like, identify what they are and close your eyes and picture it. Imagine it. Like, how would it feel to have that? What we really need to do is override our natural wired desire to consume right now and not think about the future. That's the way we're all wired. So it's only the unusual people that become wealthy because they have this future mindset, right? So we want you to have a future mindset, at least for part of it. Identify those goals, right? And then do what Adrian suggested. Immediately set up some sort of automation towards those goals, right? So maybe it's just even 3 savings accounts until you figure out how to do the brokerage, or maybe you just set up a brokerage and then a savings account for the house or the car, whatever the heck it is. Go into your checking account, set up those accounts, automate $1 a month going into those accounts, and then move it up to $2, $10. Like right now, I can honestly tell you. So when I look at my kids' savings accounts, like their 529s, I don't even know how much is in there. 10 years ago, I set up something in our checking account, my wife and I did, where X amount of money, by the way, I don't even remember how much it is. I have no clue what's going on there. But every now and then I look in there, I'm like, damn, that's a lot of money we have saved for my kids' college, because I did what I'm suggesting. Automate it and then forget about it. Because before you know it, you're going to achieve all your goals and you're going to be massively wealthy. But if you make yourself every month take the action, okay, I got to go in, I got to do X, Y, and Z, you're not going to do it. If you've ever belonged to a gym, long past you going in and actually lifting weights or working out, there's a status quo bias and they are using it against you. Because in order for you to stop going to the gym, you have to mentally say, okay, well, health is no longer important to me or whatever, right? And so what we're encouraging you to do is use that for yourself, right? Use that status quo bias. Once you get excited about your goal, you set up this automation, make it happen, you'll achieve all those goals without having to think about it. So use that tactic, but for your benefit.
Yeah. There is 2 more questions I have to ask for both of you. My first question is, what's something that both of you have spent a lot of time on, whether mentally or physically, that me or my audience should skip entirely?
Spent a lot of time in your audience, and this is specifically in finance.
It could be. It could be something outside of that too. I think this is a way of learning from people that are ahead of me and other people. And so this is my kind of question to ask. What's something that you spend a lot of time on that maybe save me and my audience a little bit of time, mental energy?
I think where I am getting compelled to talk about is what I call shiny object syndrome. Mm-hmm. This is something that it affects us all, specifically with crypto and any hot stock. I feel like I'm here. I am doing my strategy. I know it works. I'm working on my business, and then all of a sudden, I hear of this thing that's skyrocketing, and it could be crypto, like again, Solana, like some hot stock, and I feel like I used to do this a lot. I don't do it too much, but like I know when something is super trendy or hot, like it still catches my eye. But I feel like I spent so much time worrying on this like this FOMO of like missing out on the next best thing to invest in. And I feel when Bitcoin was on the rise, I feel like I invested so much time learning, and then like I realized, oh my God, there's so much I don't know. Like I have to like really commit to like actually understanding it, and I didn't. But I still waste time, and I could probably point to like something every year that like really caught my eye. And I feel like in my 20s, especially, like I invest a lot of time learning and researching, never really taking big risks, but that's all. It was all a waste. It was all a waste. Cause like, I know like now when I see a shiny object, I might spend minutes, where before I was spending like months, like researching days and looking. But, if you know your plan and you're sticking to your plan, like the hardest thing is the discipline of sticking into it. So, and what is the plan like again for most people investing in the stock market, ETFs and index funds, and having a balanced portfolio that meets your goals? Like it's boring. I know it is, but if you have that in place, the only thing that's going to fail you is shiny objects and the discipline of when the stock market is low, for you to basically have if you're making it automatic, to basically not unpause it or withdraw it. Because there's so many people that have the plan, and then the stock market goes down and they look at their portfolio because they're checking it every day, which you shouldn't. And people are like, oh my God, I need to withdraw it. So I save myself. And that's another, again, that's just discipline of sticking to the plan. But to me, whatever shiny object is there, not anything specific. I probably crypto. If I was forced, like, what is the specific thing? The energy around crypto, I feel like caught me up back many years ago, and now it's just like a distant thing for me. I think, just to be clear, it's okay if you have crypto. Just, this is speculative investing. Just got to make sure that's the smallest portion of your net worth. 10%, I'd say, is the max it should be, but less than that, the better. I probably have, I can't even say a percentage, but I have a couple $1,000 in crypto, just because like it feels like it's like adult gambling for me. But
I resonate with that. I think I have about $1,000 in there, just from a few years ago, because I was like, I feel like a guy should be in. I don't really want to be, but I feel like I should be. But I think for most people, it's like make investing the boring part, leave it boring, and then spend all your energy wanting to make that more exciting by trying to find other forces of income, which I think makes more sense. Brad, do you have one that comes up for you?
Yeah, you just sort of summarized exactly what I was going to say, and I'll probably say it in a different way here. The misperception I had when I was growing up lower income and along the path is that the way to get rich is to be a smarter investor than everyone else, right? So do not waste another second trying to beat the market. Mm-hmm. And by the way, there's been a bunch of studies done on this too. Like, we're talking 97 or 90, it's somewhere in the high range, 95% of the pros on Wall Street. Now imagine PhDs in economics and finance. You think you're doing some research on a company, they hop on a private jet, they fly to the company. Actually, they dig through the books, they meet with everybody, they walk through the company. 95% of them can't beat the index. So what the hell is wrong with you that you think you're going to be in your basement, subscribing to a Discord telling you what stocks to buy? No, that's not what rich people do. You know what rich people do? Rich people try to save and invest as much as possible. They put it in something. And by the way, this is not financial advice. We don't know your situation, but they'll do something like a target date fund. They set it, they forget it, then they turn their focus on trying to find ways to save and invest as much as they possibly can. We have a chapter in the book where we talk about all the stuff you can cut. You can cut out to become a multimillionaire. You might not want to make cuts. I don't like making cuts. So I've always looked to, how can I make more money? So focus your time on increasing your worth, increasing your skill set so you can make more money, so you can invest more money. But do not waste time with trying to beat the market.
Yeah, Brad, I grew up a lot like you in the sense of playing not to lose rather than playing to win in life. And I think it's a massive shift for me that over these years has really changed the way that I approach money entirely. My last question that I ask every guest, it's going to be cool to hear from both of your perspectives, is similar to what we've been talking about this whole podcast. A lot of our beliefs just hold us back in so many ways. So what I like to take the approach is, what belief are you guys currently unlearning?
See how you say the tough ones for last.
Yeah, well, I'll go first because this is something that Adrian's helping me unlearn. But I still suffer from what I call like middle class, lower income, do-it-yourself-itis. So I have this natural belief that I need to do it all myself. And so I have a natural sort of resistance to outsourcing. And the bottom line, it's so funny, like Adrian's always like telling me, you need to outsource that, and I have staff, like, and you're right. But I have this sense that, I need to do it myself. And so again, I think that is a mindset I've been able to evolve in some ways, but it's probably something that's still keeping me back, just to be totally honest and upfront with you. So that's something that I'm trying to learn at a deeper level.
Yeah, it's a good part of the book too. I loved it. So impactful. Adrian, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that a struggle that I have is trying to seize every opportunity. And I feel like I'm trying to unlearn of that I need to always take advantage of something. I'm really strictly thinking of business sense. Like, I'll just drop something right now. Yesterday, I spent like an hour learning how Spotify has created their own YouTube. I think if you probably heard it here first, fam. So of course that caught my eye because I saw creators popping up, and now I'm thinking I got to change everything. So, and this happens, I kid you not, like every week. So yeah, for me, it's like realize that I don't need to do everything.
I love it. This was an amazing conversation. I will have to get you guys on in the future. Hopefully, you guys write a second book because this one was truly the best book that I've read this year. Of course, the link to the book and all your socials will be in the show notes below. But is there anywhere you guys would like to direct people?
Honestly, go to startthinkingrich.com/James, and they're going to get hooked up with some extra bonuses just for being here. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.